It's Andy here from Saving to Invest, and today's video I'm going to talk about the updates to the earned income tax credits based on the IRS annual inflation adjusted amounts. The good news is for that the millions of households and families that do claim this credit, that will be increasing both from the amount of the credit, but also the income thresholds at which you can get the maximum credit. As always, if you hit the like button, it'll be much appreciated. And to get more videos like this throughout the rest of tax season, hit the subscribe button. So you can see here the 2022 earned income table. I've just showed this for references. Now again, these are for your tax filings in 2023. So this is what applies to the current year as well. So the earned income tax credit table is divided by what the maximum amount of the credit is, and it's based on the number of children up and 3 and more. So it is based on your filing status and the number of dependents children you're claiming as well. Now, as the name suggests, the earned income tax credit requires you to have a certain amount of income to at least get the maximum credit. So this is what line 2 here is about, the minimum amount to get the maximum credit. And I'll talk about that shortly when I talk about 2023 levels to help you understand this. But this is an important number to keep in mind, especially when you file your return. And again, all these are based on adjusted gross income that's in your tax return. And finally, then it's important also to be aware of the income thresholds in which this credit starts phasing out based on your filing status. And you'll see all these 3 sections that in 2023, these have all gone up, which means basically the credit is larger, more people will also probably qualify for it, which is good news for the millions of folks that do depend on this credit. So as you can see here, the 2023 credit has gone up by probably about 8 to 10%, depending on how many people you're claiming, which is good news. This is not as high as the pandemic increase a few years ago when it was dramatically expanded. But what you can see here is that for 2023, for those folks with no children, the credit now is $600. For one child, it's $3,995, $6,604 for those with 2 children. And if you have 3 or more, it's $7,430, and that's what it caps out as. If you have more children after that, you don't get any more credit. The good news is that you don't have to have a child to get this credit. So it's important that a lot of the singles who sometimes don't claim this credit realize that this is also available for them. As I mentioned also, so line 2, the minimum amount now to get this credit has gone up. The good news is that most people, hopefully will see a little bit more income through the different COLA adjustments that I talked about in some previous videos. So if your base income now is above this, you should get the full credit, which is the number in line 1. So for example, someone with 1 child, if they make $12,000, they will get the full $3,995 credit when they file their tax return in 2023, or 2024 for this case. Sorry, look for the previous table for the filings this year. So again, it's important that line 2 is reflects how much the person has earned from an AGI perspective. Again, because this is the earned income tax credit, there has to be some level of earnings. The next section talks about when this phases out. So phase out means that you can earn from between $1 to, for example, 9,800 for some of them no children, and you should get some credit. Now, if you earn between 7,840 and 9,800, you'll get the full credit if you have no children. Or for example, if you have 3 children, if you earn between 16,510 or 21,560, you'll get the full $7,430 credit. So it's important to understand the phase out thresholds. Now, if you have, for example, 3 children, but your income is $100,000, you won't get any of this credit because you're above the line 4, which is the maximum that you can get, $56,838 for those who are filing separately. Or if you're married, it's $63,398. So the idea is that this credit is targeted for lower income earners. So if you make above the amounts in line 4 and 6, depending on your filing status, you won't get any of the credit. But if you make between $1 and the start of the phase out threshold, you'll get some credit. The maximum credit is if you're in the sweet spot between lines 2 and 3 and 2 and 5. Now, that may seem like a lot, and I'd encourage you to rewind it a minute or two to hear it, but just basically be aware that you need to make a minimum amount of income to get the credit. To get the maximum credit, you need to make what's in line 2. From line 3 to line 4 is when the credit starts phasing out from the maximum to 0. depending on your filing status. If you're married, look at lines 5 and 6. That'll give you sort of how this credit works. And I'll post a link in the description below for a lot of examples on some of these credits as well. The last thing I want to touch on as well is just remember this happens every tax season. The earned income tax credit, because it's obviously pretty generous, there's a lot more checks that the IRS is mandated to do by law. That's called the PATH Act. And so if you claim this in your tax return, there's a good chance, like it has been in the last several years, that your tax return won't be processed till mid-February. Now, I've posted its estimated tax refund dates for next year, and I'll post a link to that in the description below. But most times, if you submit your tax returns, it generally takes, 21 days to process. With earned income tax credits and child tax credits, this is probably going to add 2 to 3 weeks more for your tax return to be processed. This is just part of the law, and you can see the message here that the IRS cannot issue refunds before mid-February for those returns that claim the earned income tax credit or the additional child tax credit. So this is an issue every year. Normally it takes till the end of March for this backlog to be cleared. So if you do claim the EITC in your tax return, just be aware that your refund payment will be delayed because of the processing delays that the IRS is going to likely experience with this. Again, if you like the video, I really appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up and keep subscribing to get more information. And I do post extra videos and extra forums for premium subscribers and members, so you can join that channel as well. Here starts at like $2 a month, so you'll see more videos throughout tax seasons. If that helps you, look for the description below for how to sign up. Thanks.